How to keep sex a priority in marriage. And love may be the key. I'll see you after the intro. Now, this is going to be a saucy one. How to make sex a priority in marriage. And this may not get a consensus, but this may be a potential solution. We'll see. But before that, I'm going to tell you about this channel. The channel is going to be comprised of four major components: relationships, single dad, that's who I am, and what I'm about, and personal growth and attachment theory. All kind of work in tandem. This is going to be more focused on the relationship part of it, and more importantly about marriages and how to keep the flame alive. And let's jump right into it. So, I officiated a wedding back in the day, and when I officiated that wedding, I had to find like a little speech or something to do before, and I was trying to rack my brain about it, and it kind of brought me back to a question that popped up. It was like, well, sex is not a priority for women. That's what I heard. I read online, I saw some things, and people told me. I was like, I didn't even realize it. And I dove depth into the situation, and I figured out the key may be love. Now, before you turn channel and jump to something else, this is really good information that may have some good fundamental breakdown and have logic associated with it. So let's break down how to be in love with somebody. Love takes communication. And if you communicate with people enough, eventually you'll get to a stage of understanding that individual. Now, they may not get past the communication. They may be a dumb as doornails or not fitting communication or whatever case it be, and they might not make it that far. But if communication stays consistent, understanding will happen on both sides, and enough understanding will produce trust. And then when you have trust, encompassed with honesty in all those three factors, it will produce a layer of love. And the more you get deeper conversations, the more understanding you have, the more trust you have within honesty, produces a deeper level of love. That's why you also see the opposite can happen too, because what happens is if somebody is not communicating with their spouse, which happens a lot of the time, they don't understand the person because they have all these things going on. Jordan Peterson has a good point. He says that relationships should have at least an hour and a half of communication just to talk about just normal things that get caught up in daily life. But if you don't have that communication, you'll eventually start living different lives, and then further way of understanding that individual, which will eventually break down trust because you don't know what the other person is doing, and then you start to slowly pull back those bricks. So communication is key. Now, how can it really help in the sex perspective? I have three examples of how this could be beneficial. Clearing the mind. Let's say you're in a marriage, been married for a while, and the wife has a lot of things on their mind. They may have to go into work the next day and fire two individuals. And then the man's like looking them in the eye. There you see her, looking at across the way. She don't get a lot to say, but there's something about her. But you don't know why, but you die in a child, wanna kiss the girl. Sing it with me now. No, but he's like looking in the eye and trying to, and so, but what's happening, there's a lack of communication and a lack of understanding. If communication was, hey, how you doing today, and knew what's going on, understanding where that person's mind's at, it's hard for them to get in the mood of the situation. So it's better to sit down, understand what's going on, and provide assistance if there's this ism. Either take some mind off their mind, or do some extra stuff, or rub their feet, or just make them feel more comfortable, find some solutions. Because if they have a solution or they feel comfortable, they may be willing to do it at night, but it may not be the time because you had a communication, you understand, and you go forward. Let's say also communication and understanding. Again, this is all building trust to build love, right? We just talked about that. let's say understanding how that girl's body works. I know how a lot of the times guys don't try to understand because you know why? Because they're not communicating and they're not understanding. If they communicate and understanding, then the trust will happen that, oh, I will get a positive, oh, as a woman, I'll get a positive outcome out of this. I have trust in this that it's going to be a high likelihood of good success because communication and understanding is happening. Same thing with, okay, wife's coming home, and I'm putting a lot on the women because most of this is guys can go at any time probably, but women's like, okay, I got chores to do, I can take care of the kids, I got to work, this is all things, and if the communication was available, understanding what's going on in the woman's mind, then now you could be okay, how can I help alleviate some of the stress or a lot of things going on in your life? And now because you're communicating and understanding and meeting in a place that builds trust, which will then have all the other things that have moved up in priority decrease because of you're working together and communicating and building trust, and then it'll be appreciation over time. Now there are some caveats. People who have too much anxiety or too much a fear of a vulnerability, that could be a whole different ball game because they are in different extremes. And people who have too much anxiety, those individuals will always be thinking about things, so it's hard for them to be able to get to a point to want to. And then also the vulnerability part too is like if there's too much vulnerability, it's too bad, they'll probably push away. So those are the caveats to the situation, but even in those extremes, communication, understanding, and trust. And guys, I know sometimes you don't want to talk, but if you talk, understand, and help them through that, and help, and then sometimes they don't even just give them solutions, just acknowledge them and ask questions to help guide their own thought process. They'll appreciate that, and also you have to understand what's going on to really know and use your best judgment and when to act or not. So, but that's it. I mean, just to recap in general, I mean, with love, it goes encompassed with communication, then understanding, which produces understanding, and then trust. All around honesty will eventually move forward. If you lose honesty or communication, the bricks that are building over time will crumble quicker than it was built. So, hopefully this is good information. Please like and subscribe. And let me know what you think in the comments. I would love to hear what you have to say about this, and tell me if I'm wrong. But this is one potential solution. I'm pretty sure there's probably other solutions, but I want you to be able to look at it a different way that maybe will help the situations that you're in, if you're in that situation that probably millions of people are in. But you have a great day and kick butt. And if you have a kid, love them and give them a hug because I need it. See you later, guys. See you next time.